Should be good. Okay, there we go. That seems to be better. What's up, guys? Sorry, we're just making sure this is coming through properly. Hopefully it is now. We'll just give it a little bit of time and let everyone jump on. Just give it a few minutes, guys, and then let everyone jump in. If someone can just let us know if this is coming through all right as well. Just sort of been trying to iron out these, making sure these lives are coming through nice and clear. Because we're going to be doing a lot of these through the footy season, AFL and NRL. Obviously, we've got the NBA going at the moment still, so AFL just around the corner. Nice and clear. Yeah, awesome, bro. Thanks for that. I was so used to doing it the other way where it was all really sort of easy just on the green screen. So it's just a little bit different because I'm looking at a different screen. It's not purely through one platform. It's sort of streaming out to 5 or 6 different ones. So I'm just trying to check on my phone and make sure as well. But yeah, I've been keeping an eye on because I was hoping there would be almost full markets open for the AFL practice games, being that they're official practice games, but still nothing open yet, which is a bit of a worry. So just as you touched on it, do any preseason markets come up for you? No, I haven't seen anything yet, but I've been trying to research it all day. And we're having a good little stretch on the NBA at the moment too. It's actually been sort of pretty consistent coming out of the All Star break, which has been good with players freshened up a little bit. But yeah, I was really looking forward to jumping onto the AFL tomorrow. I'm pretty sure nearly every other year they've done it, like the last sort of 3-4 years I can remember, whether it was just limited markets, even like head to head and some margin stuff. But I'm pretty sure last year they opened up the full markets. Um, Unless this year the state of origin is somehow impacted it. Maybe because they opened up for that game, I'm not sure, but um, yeah, still nothing yet. So normally, I think the AFL app had an update with some players and stuff have been named. So I think that's normally sort of what you see. So markets should probably be open by now if there's a game tomorrow, but um, yeah, I haven't seen anything yet, so I'm really hoping because yeah, I was hoping to get stuck in, um, right from day one of this preseason. So um, I'll just have to keep an eye on it and sort of see. Hopefully, some markets open up. Whether it's maybe first thing tomorrow morning or something. Maybe they'll open up some markets. Maybe they wanted the team information so they could finalize some of their markets, and they're gonna maybe open it tomorrow morning. Maybe we'll just have to see. Um, yeah, I can't really remember back to last year, but keep firing away with questions, guys. If you haven't been on these lives before, especially now that we've got a bigger screen behind us, we can obviously start fitting a lot more stuff in here as well. So whether it's the AFL or the NRL or the NBA, and then can really just use this as a conversation starter. As you can see, all this stuff's up behind us. It just allows me to throw a few names up, a few different prop lines, whether that's some over unders at times as well, or whatever I sort of find at an early stage, albeit obviously with sports like the NBA, um, like the market's sort of just open. You've got so many players that are still questionable and stuff like that. So it always makes it a little bit tricky. But we do have some names, so we can sort of break down some of these. Like I said, we've had a nice little run the last couple of days. Just seeing some real consistency, really peeling it back, and whether it's even targeting like 2 assists or like the 5+ points. Just some sort of really easy prop lines where there's surprisingly been some solid sort of value. So last year they had goal scorers only, I think. Yeah, that's what I remember in that one too. And then I remember one year, I can't remember if it was last year or not, but I think it was like one app, maybe PointsBet or something, had sort of like full markets or at least a few disposal options. So I'm sure they've always traditionally done something because I mean it is officially a practice game. So yeah, obviously the same rules as a normal game. Should be the same time length, officially umpired, all that sort of stuff. So it is technically an official game. Um, I guess you could say more so than what the state of origin was. So the fact that they opened up a bunch of markets for that, I mean, I don't see a reason why they wouldn't, to be honest. So I'm just hoping that it might be till maybe tomorrow because the game is until like 7 at night or something. So it wouldn't surprise me if maybe some markets open up, say like 11 a.m. or something tomorrow. Because like I said, maybe they've just been waiting to get the team news to see who's actually playing. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. So it's like I said, it's kind of good that we've always got a little bit of NBA there in the background to have a little bit of fun with. So I was gonna do a little bit of super coach stuff as well. I think there was a lot we've sort of taken already, but I mean we're gonna learn even more from these official practice games. But I think it was Bailey Smith, I think, come out today. He had a bit of a calf injury, as we've seen some actually really big injuries to some good players. So um, for anyone that has followed on these, like I said, I was pretty big on Jack Steele, which a lot of people laughed at the time. I think he put up probably nearly one of the biggest scores. I think it was like 120 something on fantasy, which probably would have been in the top couple, albeit it was only match sims. But like I said, the roles are pretty much going to be exact same there when you throw him in to be pretty much the main midfielder, the hit two guy with Max Gorn there now. Melbourne moved the ball really well. He actually got forward and kicked some goals. He looked super fit. So there was a few of them for me that I reckon I can maybe save a little bit of money on. And these guys are like 0% owned or like 1% owned. I mean, Clayton Oliver was another one with no Tom Green now. He's pretty much just taken over that midfield to start, and he'll have Finn Callahan there along the way to feed the ball out to as well. But I think he came out and had 30 disposals. So if he just gets to run around loose as the main midfielder in GWS and average 30 plus disposals, he all of a sudden looks like a bargain. People probably forget that he was one of the best players in the league for a long time. He was probably top five for a good 3, 4, 5 seasons there. Um, One of the best sort of inside contested players there is. So he's always scored well. So there's a few, like I said, Jack Steele, Clayton Oliver's another one for me around that 500. Instead of maybe spending like 650,000 on a Matt Rowell, like could an Oliver or a Jack Steele average that 105, 110, and you just save yourself 150 grand. So there was definitely some options there, some bench guys as well, some of these rookies. So we'll probably do that. Yeah, sort of over this week as we learn a little bit more out of these official practice games as well. So, um, is the preseason worth going to? I mean, it depends, bro. Like, if you're a big footy fan, and I guess you want to go check out some of the young kids or some of the new recruits, or say for like Melbourne, you might have a new coach and a new game plan. So, yeah, you're not really going to probably take too much from it, but yeah, look, if you've been hanging for footy and you get the chance to go watch some, I'd probably still enjoy it. What are you looking for in the AFL preseason games this week? Oh, it's a good question, man. The Super Coach would be a big one. Um, Probably. Well, I was hoping some markets would be open, so I probably won't be looking for too much. We'll be jumping straight into it, but um, it would be just little things like that. Like I said, maybe guys who have changed teams and playing a different role because these are the guys where you're going to get value on. Like you're probably going to get really good value straight out of the gate for say Jack Steele, 20 plus or say 18 plus or something like that, or and until the bookies sort of catch up and realize that he's going to play a specific role, or whether that's guys that have gone from like maybe a Windsor or a Langford, these type of guys at Melbourne who are playing more of a midfield role. Yeah, so these are all the things you're looking for, I guess. That's going to help you, have wins throughout the season. So, but it'll be just nice to enjoy some footy as well at the end of the day. But yeah, I've been sort of looking at that stuff pretty closely. The match sims you couldn't really tell too much, but yeah, like I said, just little things of guys who are playing specific roles that I'm going to like to target, whether it's maybe guys that are taking the kick-ins now or, yeah, I guess just all these little things. So it kind of depends on how you like to attack footy too. If you've got specific prop lines and stuff you like to target, then they're probably the things you're looking out for, I guess. So, um, uh, Seth 2 got the spot over Fail. What do you think people are gonna do to their team? You might have to be specific, bro. I'm not sure what you're. Are you touching on NRL or? I was trying to get a bit of context from things that I was discussing. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where that fit in. Oh yeah, haven't really been following it too much, bro. I don't really follow NRL much. Um, Even some of the preseason games, I sat down and tried to have a look into it. It was actually pretty tough to watch. I don't think we were really taking too much from it. So, um, yeah, that's probably the last thing on my mind at the moment. Like I said, we've been still got NBA on in the background. So until there's actually something there, and it's going to be predominantly AFL for me, I'm gonna love sort of incorporating the NRL more so just for the tipping competitions and the super coach teams and stuff like that. It'll just keep me a lot more interested in it. Um, and it'll probably be more me sort of maybe catching up midweek on some games. Obviously, I'm not really going to be able to watch too many NRL games because they're just on at the exact same time essentially as the AFL. So, um, yeah, it'll probably be me just catching up a little bit midweek, more sort of tracking teams, like I said, for maybe the tipping comp where we're actually giving away some really big prize money for those competitions. So I'm obviously going to be having a good crack at that myself as well as everyone else in our group. So keep firing away with questions, guys. So at the moment, I'm really just making sure these streams are coming through clearly and everything else. That's sort of the main focus at the moment. Ready to go for the footy season. But like I said, it's always good to have some NBA there to be talking about as well. Something sort of on a daily basis. So, what are the odds for both those lays? I don't ever lay anything on here, bro. They're not, you would be kind of crazy to be laying anything right now this early. I think you've been on here. I see your name pop up all the time. We've probably had this conversation about 100 times. These are literally for content purposes. So when anyone sort of comes through and goes, "Oh, what are you guys talking about? What games are you talking about tomorrow? What sort of players or the prop lines or whether it's over unders or whatever it is, this is really for content purposes." So instead of like people having to come through every couple of minutes and sort of ask what we've been talking about, it's literally here for everyone to see. So, um, yeah, that's all it is, and I'm pretty sure you know that already. So I do just like to try and remind people that because that's where a lot of people go wrong. They come in for like 10 seconds, take a screenshot, and then they think that that's what we were telling people to do. We obviously have our own group where we go away and lock these plays in, but like I said, the game's not till I think the first game's not till probably like 11 a.m. here in Melbourne or whatever tomorrow. So yeah, you definitely don't want to be putting anything on this early because a lot can change as we know with the NBA. So but this is what we have for right now. So, like I said, we sort of leverage what we have right now to do these lives and discuss these things. And then the idea is that when people leave here, they feel a bit better about it tomorrow, and it sort of helps you guys have some success. That's all. So, is Bont too expensive? I don't think so. I'm changing my mind quite a bit on like the rucks and stuff as well. So I've been able to like save quite a bit of money. I'm sort of, like I said, I'm actually sort of happy enough with. I'm like not too big into it too. I'm more trying to go. I want to go different to everyone else. It's like I keep seeing a lot of people sharing their teams and stuff now, and what I think is not a lot of people actually think for themselves. They just go out and copy paste pretty much exactly what everyone else is doing. Everyone's all of a sudden got the exact same rookies. They've got the same players in the same locations everywhere across the field, which is no real fun for me. I like sort of putting myself out there and making some of these calls and these predictions. Like I said, whether that's guys like an Oliver or Steele, I think Sam Walsh could be one who's very underpriced too. Obviously, he's been injury sort of hampered, but I just think the way that the game's going now, yeah, he looked really, really good with Jagger Smith in there too. So, guys like that are sort of just over 500 instead of having to pay like 650,000 for some of these midfielders. If you can find that guy at maybe 500,000 that's going to get you 105, 110 average, and he's going to be up there with Dacos and maybe Butters and these type of guys, then I think this is going to be the difference where people can get an advantage on people by maybe taking a few risks and going against the grain a little bit. So that's what I'm looking at, and like I said, that's what makes these lives sort of enjoyable as well. It would be pretty crap if I just come on here and say the same shit that everyone else is saying and basically copy paste it. So that's probably what I'll be doing on the next sort of super coach one, sort of sharing maybe some of these ones that are a little bit out of the box that aren't really owned by anyone that, like I said, we had this discussion a week ago and a lot of people sort of laughed, and then yet, like I said, whether it was Cozzy Pickett and Jack Steele, two guys that I touched on a week or so ago, put up massive scores in terms of just the fantasy stuff that I've seen. I think it was maybe some of the rookies that we touched on as well that were a little bit sort of out of the box. Latrell Pickett was another one at Melbourne. A lot of people are jumping on him now as well after what we saw from him. So, yeah, I think that's really the fun stuff to talk about on Supercoach, not just the same old players that everyone picks. So, oh yes. Hey man, the markets have been released just now. I hope that's. Oh, they're only allowing goal kickers. Hey, well, I'll take it, bro. I don't necessarily love goal kickers. I mean, the State of Origin was probably the perfect example of that. It was like everyone fucking kicked a goal except for Darcy, who was the shortest price favourite, who'd been kicking more goals than anyone in the preseason. So, I don't necessarily love goal kickers, but that's all right. I'm guessing there's like you can probably still take at least the result in the game too, I'm guessing, and maybe set some lines and then kick some goals. But you might find too, bro, that just might be the one you're on. So depending on what app you're looking at, I'd imagine I'm thinking back, yeah, previously a few different ones have done that because if they get wind that maybe someone's only doing goal kickers, if you go out and sort of throw in some disposals as well, all of a sudden you're going to get a lot more business. So, um, yeah, I'm just happy there's some markets open because I was starting to get a bit worried that they won't open. So that's just going to make it that much more better now too for these lives during the week. Now at least we should now know sort of what markets we're going to have open, and then we can jump on, for almost every game this week and sort of start breaking down some of the AFL. So yeah, I'm just happy they're open, to be honest. um, Geelong versus Carlton tomorrow so far. So they've just released one as well, yeah. Nemhard PRA line is so low right now, only at 25 and a half. Yeah, I like it. Probably not one that I'd sort of touch on, but they're only letting goal kickers. When are you doing NRL? Not too sure, bro. We'll be definitely including it from time to time, but like I said, it's not really a priority of mine. The idea this year is that we can sort of have some fun and give away some prize money. For most of our group is always sort of AFL dominated, so it was more opening the door for guys who maybe don't follow AFL. It just gives you guys another way to win money. You might be like, fuck, well, I don't know where to start with AFL, so maybe I'll just go to this platform. I'll copy paste everything they do for AFL, and then I can actually go in and probably win the NRL Supercoach League and win the tipping competition, and you end up making yourself, a ton of money by the end of the year. So that's what we were trying to do, and then in the hope that we just start getting more and more people from NRL, and then they bring their knowledge and they share it within our group, and then other guys get better at NRL, and it just really creates value within our group, getting that mixture. Without me specifically probably targeting the games too much, just because I don't love it at all. I think it's so limited compared to AFL and NFL specifically. I think are the best by far. Um, um, what type am I going to do for the NRL? Not sure yet, bro. Yeah, NRL will just be. It might be just like a bit sort of with the NBA. I think we're going to have to probably be very strategic with it. Like, I don't think you can just go place it on every single game and just think you're going to pick try scorers and whatever. Like, I don't think there's very many options, really. I mean, most people you're taking try scorers, or you're taking like the result, or maybe setting a line, or some over unders maybe. I just think AFL is so much better now that you've got from bloody 10 plus disposals to 30 plus disposals. Like, there's just so much more room, and then you got individual goal kickers. Then you've got all the results sort of stat lines. Like, there's just so much more, and it's just so much better. So, um, yeah, we'll just be mixing in probably different things and having a little bit of fun with it, and it'll be more around our super coach and our tipping comps as well. Try scorers, yeah, well, that's really all there is, and it can be just very hit and miss. So I think if you're very strategic around it and maybe understand if there's going to be a one-sided game where one team's going to maybe score, 4 or 5 tries as well, at least then you give yourself a pretty good percent of sort of hitting one. But I mean, you see some games where they only score, maybe 2 try scorers. So to try and get one out of only 2, all of a sudden it looks pretty hard, and you've got to get pretty lucky a lot of the time. Whereas if you're taking a goal kicker in AFL where they can kick, 15 to 20 goals in a game, and you only need to get 2 or 3 of them, all of a sudden it seems pretty easy instead of trying to get 1 out of 2 for the whole game. But in saying that, there is good value. So if you do happen to get, sort of lucky and hit one of them, there is definitely good value. But yeah, I'm happy that markets are starting to open now, because that means we can follow the NBA in the morning, and then we can actually get on and put something together for the AFL and get stuck into it straight away. Like I said, most people are probably just starting out their sort of season and looking to build that bankroll up probably from now. We've been doing it for months and months and months now going back from last AFL season straight into the NFL and the NBA, right off the back of the Super Bowl, and then footy's here now. So yeah, I'm just happy there's a few markets starting to open. To be honest. What are some of your award predictions NBA wise? Oh, I honestly haven't even really thought about it, bro, because you got to imagine for everything that I'm doing on a daily basis, unless it really brings value to what we're doing, or unless it's something I'm going to sort of take personally, I just don't really have the time to look into stuff like that. So, um, yeah, I'm guessing you mean in terms of just like the MVP or teams to maybe make the playoffs or whatever. Yeah, it's not something we're going to target in our group. It's not something I'm going to target personally. So I really just don't even bother looking into that stuff, to be honest, bro. As much as it's fun to talk about, but it's probably going to be more the AFL in terms of that sort of stuff. Now we can start looking into the top four, top eight. What's going to be a top 10 now? Brownlow, Coleman, Rising Star. That's sort of more stuff we'll be discussing because it's going to be sort of very relevant to what we're doing. So, all right. Personally, I got Shea MVP. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a tricky one because he's actually been missing a few games of late. I mean, he's always going to be right up there. The Joker's always going to be right up there. I mean, Luca's been unbelievable all season. Um, I don't know. Wemby's been playing out of his skin most of the season as well. I don't think there's too many players. I mean, you talk about Luca's scoring and that, but if you look at what Wemby does on the defensive end of getting, 5 blocks in a game and the amount of rebounds, like I think he had nearly 20 and 20 again today with about 5 or 6 blocks or something against one of the best sides as well in the Pistons. So um, his overall dominance is just sort of crazy on both ends of the floors. I guess SGA too. Like, what does he really do on defense? Do you know what I mean? Like, he really is just a guard who scores points and draws fouls. Like, as good as he is, I'm just not sure. Is he actually an MVP if he can't really rebound and he doesn't really overly defend and block, maybe all these things? So it'll be interesting to see how they go. But like I said, it's nothing. It's something I never really target myself. So go away, man. Why do people lose? No, you don't. Sorry, guys. I have to try and work out how to remove these spammers as well on here. Now that I'm doing it different, it used to be very easy on my iPad. I'll have to work that out. Sorry, guys, I'm just pulling this chat back up. I don't know what's. No one believes you, bro. Like you're just spamming and no one believes you. No one's falling for that. Yeah, I'm trying to work it out, bro. It's normally super easy just to block people when I was on my iPad, but I'm just because it's all through my PC now. I might just have to open it up on my phone as well. Hopefully, I can manually do it from here. I don't know how dumb these people are. Like, what they if they think anyone actually believes them. Like, it's just pretending like they can tell the future that something's definitely gonna hit. I'll have to work out to do it another time. Oh, I won't worry about it for now. Make me mod if you like. I can do it. Yeah, I might have to work something like that out, or I'll have to see if I can. I might set up like another dummy account that I can watch the live through, and I'll just make myself a mod and just maybe monitor it that way through my phone or something. It's just because the one that it's on now, it goes through just like Streamlabs. So it's only like one stream, but then it shoots off to like 6 or 7 different platforms. So you can't really control individual platforms, I don't think. I'll have to look into maybe it a little bit more. But yeah, like no. You think people would be able to figure out that no one believes it? You're not going to ever gain anything from doing that stuff like that. It's a bit embarrassing, but I might actually have to start having a look through, maybe even while we're on live too, and see if I can't see a few more markets and stuff opening up. Hopefully, it's just an app thing too. Like some of them might actually do disposals and stuff. But at least now we get a bit of a look of, because if there's nothing for the following game, at least we sort of know now roughly what time markets and stuff are going to open. Oh yeah, so it's on Ned's now too, AFL preseason, which that wasn't there before. So there we go. It just took till like what 8 p.m. Yeah, so nothing really on Ned. You can just take. I wouldn't be trusting Geelong in preseason either. They're notorious for like really going sort of half pace through some of these games. Keep finding away with questions, guys. I'm just going to try and track this a little bit for you guys as well, and see if I can't find some markets that are open somewhere. Every game. Yeah, it depends what sport you're talking about, bro. NBA definitely not, because I just think it's so unpredictable. Like I think really less is more with NBA. We've really the last couple of days just been targeting anytime the Rockets or the Spurs plays. I just love some of the prop lines in there. Some of the players super consistent, play very consistent minutes, sort of every game. Their roles are always very similar. Um, so that's for us. If you've got sort of 2 or 3 teams you sort of like to target, then you've sort of got something every day or every second day. Um, and that keeps it sort of pretty fun as well without, betting on so many different games and getting so much variety as we see with the NBA. Like you can do everything right sometimes, and then I think it was Şengün the other day, like was it a few days ago or whatever, nailed everything, and he's like one of the best rebounders in the comp, and I think he just had like 2. I've never even seen him have that low before ever. And yeah, he had like 2 and played like nearly 30 minutes game time or something crazy like that. So, and then he'll go out and have 8 pretty much every other game on every other side of it. So that's sort of classic NBA. But like I said, we found a real sort of sweet spot at the moment, being able to target just like 2+ assists and 5+ points, some stuff that they'll come out and do it, in the first quarter. So, but you've obviously got to have the right players on the right team with the right matchups and all that sort of stuff as well. So, but in terms of footy, yeah, I'll be targeting pretty much every single game. We're gonna have a really good balance of because at the end of the day, I'm still trying to run a business here and give people value, because there'll be people that just want to have a little bit of fun on every game, even if it's like $2 or $5 or something, just to keep it interesting. So we're going to make a point of sort of catering for everyone, but also being very transparent on it's probably not your best way to win it. You probably really only need to target maybe 3 or 4 games that you really like better than the other ones. And that's where you're going to do most of the sort of heavy lifting. So we'll just be making that very clear. We'll have specific channels, for anyone that wants to have a little bit of fun and chase some value or whatever. This is what we have a group chat for as well. And we put predictions just like this up the night before, and everyone can jump in the chat and what do you guys think about this? I'm going to maybe throw in these goal kickers. Brett sort of put some options up for here. I like this and I like that, and we should maybe mix some of this. people can do whatever they want and have their own fun, and then I'll sort of put in place of really what we sort of see as the safest, smartest way for people to go out and have some success. Because that's at the end of the day, that's all my job is, trying to help people win. At the end of the day, it's not trying to enable people's addictions and just feed on it. It's trying to help them actually win at the end of the day. So we're going to try and find a really good balance of that, specifically with the AFL. So um, yeah, it really just depends, man, on what sport it is. So I'm not sure which one you were talking about specifically, but hopefully that answered it. Just want to see if they've all opened up ones now or not. Sorry, guys. Keep throwing away. I'm just multitasking here. Trying to look up some of this stuff for you guys. Nothing on some of these ones yet. So it might be one of them. Might only be like maybe two different apps, maybe some limited markets. Sorry, bro. I can't see. There might have been some that's missed through that last one with he's. That's all I can see. I don't know if part of the question didn't come through. AFL preseason. There we go. Yeah, so Sportsbet's probably still going to be the best. Not that there's much there, but goal kickers, first goal, second goal, first or second goal, first, second or third goal. That might be not a bad way to find some value, maybe. First, second or third of the game. It's right, at least something's open to start having some fun with. Be interesting to see if more markets do open up tomorrow or not, or they're just going to keep them limited like that. It'll be interesting to see. I guess it's something to look at instead of nothing. Yeah, and you just got to be a bit careful, like of maybe falling into the trap, of maybe going against the way you normally like to, and just trying to cater for the limited markets. But yeah, like I said, it'd be nice to just have a little bit of a play with it. Maybe even if we can mix in something from the NBA, maybe with that, like you might be able to find maybe just one or two goal kickers to get a little bit of value there, and then maybe mix it in with two prop lines or something in the NBA. Like maybe I'll have a look at that for tomorrow as well. But yeah, like you said, it's going to be good just to start watching some actual genuine sort of footy again, where we can actually take something from it, and then probably break it down. Sort of the next live. Oh, it'll be a bit tricky probably with the timing actually, because that's probably right. The footy probably starts right when I like to go live, unless I do it while the footy's on. Maybe we'll see. um, with losses at home for Scotty Barnes, averages 7 rebounds, 62% hit rate. Yeah, he's really good. I mean, probably 10.6 boards. He's really sort of good at. Scotty Barnes. Um, and I think with Jakob Pertl out too, anytime he hasn't really played this season, they've been pretty vulnerable on the board. So I think you're probably going to see some big board numbers for probably both Chet and Hartenstein. And then that might even sort of translate to points as well. Obviously, if they've got their big sort of center out, that might make it a bit easier for them to score as well, not having that big presence down low as well. So, yeah, that's definitely something to look at in that one, I reckon, with Chet and Hartenstein, whether it's on the boards or the points or a combination of both. Um, and like I said, I like the other one that you can actually get a lot of these guys at 10 plus, guys like Norman Powell and Bam, and now that Hero's back, yeah, some of these guys who are closer to probably averaging more like, sort of 15 to 20 in that sort of 16 to 17 mark. It's always nice if you can get guys like that at 10 plus, or that's Rollins and Porter Jr. as well, covering that very nicely, pretty consistently. So it might be a combination of both. It might be, yeah, maybe two or three from each game and mix them together. Or like I said, we might even have a bit of a mixture with the footy tomorrow. So, like I said, this is sort of how early of a stage it is when we're on here discussing this stuff, knowing full well that a lot could probably change by tomorrow. So, Thursday games. There's 2-1. Yeah, I thought, and I think is it Friday as well? I think there's another 2 games. Is it as well? Yeah, hopefully some more markets open up. I'm trying to just think when they've done it previously for the footy, whether they did add disposals in later or whether they all opened at once. I mean, goal kickers are pretty easy because it's not like they throw in every player on the field, whereas obviously disposals, there's a lot to go through, especially if they're going to open the 10, 11, 12, 13, unless they maybe limit it. Like they might just open some at like maybe 15 and 20 plus, or something like that maybe for these games. But we'll see. But yeah, it's going to be good when we got footy back in full swing. Albeit there'll still be some NBA in the background each day, but yeah, it'd be nice to be sort of these lives during the week because you normally do get I think some of the markets open normally maybe like 2 days before, so we might even be able to start doing like Thursday games from like Tuesday night, and then on the Wednesday night you could do like Friday night's game or something like that, and we can really break down every game in advance. These multis, they are not, because like I said, you definitely would not want to be doing it this early, because there is way too long to go till the game. There's still a lot of players that we don't even know who's actually playing yet. A lot of these markets will actually shift. I worked out it's kind of around midnight where maybe some guys that are in the 10 plus will actually drop back into the 5 plus, and if you can pounce on them sort of quick enough, that's when you can sort of get a little bit of value in there before they disappear. So yeah, this is all for content purposes. So instead of people just coming through and just seeing like the background here behind me, it just makes so much more sense to actually fill it with some stuff we can actually talk about. And then because so many people filter in, people leave and people come in every second almost. Different people are coming through, so it's just very easy to have a display here of show people what we're talking about, what we're discussing, what games, what sport, whatever it is. It just makes it so much easier. So, um, the team lineups come out Wednesday night, I think. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I know you can normally do the like margins and stuff like that, obviously pretty far out. It might be just, yeah, in terms of disposals. Um, But a lot of them are pretty good because they kind of know from like the week before and if there's been any injuries or whatever. Like it can be. I'll have to have a look at that because normally we don't get on them too early. But I mean, we can still discuss it and stuff even if the markets aren't fully open. Like we're still going to know who to talk about and stuff. It's just easier for me to get screenshots of it and show it up here. Um, but yeah, we'll just see because last year we were trying to give it away free and discuss all this and help people on like sort of the Wednesday night we were doing like Thursday, but then obviously then we all sit down and watch the game on Thursday. So unless we jump on here at like 11 when the footy finishes to cover Friday night's game, it was all a bit too much. So it'd be nice to be able to do them on Tuesdays and Thursdays for the Thursdays and Fridays game, but we'll just see whether we only maybe do it for the one game. Obviously everyone in our group's going to get access to every single game, so multi or single? I'm not sure what the actual question is there, bro. You might have to give me a bit more context. Are you asking what do I prefer, or I'm presuming that's what you mean? And that again would probably be different for every single sport. Like if you can find something that you're happy with single, it's obviously probably the easiest and safest way to do it. Um, but yeah, I've got no problem with having to multi three, four, five, even six things together like we did, unbelievably all season in the NFL because they were all really easy prop lines that could be done within seconds. Like when you can tick off five prop lines in the first quarter, all of a sudden that's actually safer and quicker than doing like one over under, which you got to sit there and sweat out the whole game for. So it really depends, bro. I'm not sure what sport you're talking about. So you'll have to give me a bit more context. So yeah, really depends on what specifically you're talking about for that. We'll have to pick out one. I didn't know what markets and stuff were going to be open, so it's been a little bit hard too of just trying to drop one of the plays in each week, which we started from the Super Bowl. Unfortunately for that one, it was the one NBA one that we hadn't hit where Shengun just had a stinker and only got two boards. But like I said, the last couple of days has been really good on the NBA. But I'll have to pick out a game for the footy this weekend as well to drop in our free channel. Obviously, there's going to be no analysis. We're not giving unit sizes or anything in there. That's obviously what people pay for. So we will just be flicking one of the slips in there of something we come up with. We literally just drop it in there for whoever's in there. So, the picks on the screen for multi or single. Same answer, bro. They're really just for content purposes. So if anyone wants to discuss these sort of two games and maybe where I think the value is and guys that I like in this game, it's literally for content purposes. So whether we end up doing these as same game options like that, we might maybe just take two or three from each one and maybe do a combination, or we might decide tomorrow that the smarter play is to maybe mix in some AFL. It might be a bit hard trying to find value with the AFL without getting too greedy. So maybe we can find a way to maybe, take a goal kicker from Carlton, one for Geelong, and then we maybe mix that in with something to do with the NBA. And then maybe that, that keeps it all inclusive. It means everyone can have a bit of fun. We've got something to follow tomorrow across a couple of different codes of sport. So yeah, like I said, it's just at a very very early stages, but yeah, these is what I normally do is build a really big list like this, and then we start going back through and probably scratching some of these off when the value changes a little bit. Some odds shorten, some blow out a little bit more. You might get some injury news. So maybe Tyler Hero goes out injured. All of a sudden, you're like, well, Powell, you can probably bump up to maybe 15, knowing that Hero's not going to play. Or, if Chet's out, you probably bump Hartenstein's numbers up. You know what I mean? So this is just a very, very early stage, obviously. But, we've been able to help a lot of people doing it this way. Even at an early stage, just literally putting them up here, using them as sort of a talking point, and then sort of being able to go through the game and give people some advice, and then they go out and hit some winners with it. So. Yeah, not really a game that I love at all, to be honest. Carlton Geelong. It's just Geelong in pre-season. You just don't really ever trust them. I'm thinking back to a few preseason games where you're just like, oh, Geelong look cooked. They don't look anything like the same side. Then they come out and dominate again. You're just like, oh yeah, that's just preseason. So, um, as we know, even with Chris Scott, there'll probably be a late out for Geelong as well, or he'll probably name players that he'll pull out late, even if it is a practice game. Um, and I mean, a bit like we saw last week. I mean, Carlton going up to Queensland and beating Brisbane was probably a bit of a shock, but it just goes to show you that it really doesn't matter the result. So, I said you just got to be a bit careful falling for the trap that, look, Geelong should be a far better team than Carlton this year, but I'm not sure that necessarily means they go out and win tomorrow because it is a practice game at the end of the day. So, but the Blues, you probably find some good value on some of their goal kickers. Like they got a really good spread with guys like Ainsworth and Hayward. Byrne was the other one. He's at $1.50 just to kick one this week. Fogarty. Shannon Neal's probably the one. Really, especially with no Wiedering. I'd be probably looking at Shannon Neal to start. They've got Dangerfield named as well. Maybe like Shannon Neal and maybe Ollie Henry or something for Geelong. And then either a Mackay and Hayward maybe for the Blues. $2.40. So there's enough value there. um, Wino markets pre-season just now, bro. Just as I'm reading through, so albeit limited markets at the moment. I'm not sure you might wake up tomorrow, or sort of from work hours for after 9 a.m. So maybe come like 10 or 11 a.m. Maybe they've included some. I think even last time they might just throw up like maybe 15 plus and 20 plus and just put like the main players in there maybe or something like that rather than doing the 10, 11, 12, 13, etc. That'd be nice if they do that, even just throw in 15 and 20 like what they used to do. So yeah, hopefully they mix that in as well. But just sort of thinking out loud there, then I think there is already some matchups. Shannon Neal's probably the one with no Jacob Wiedering down there. He's probably in line to kick two or three. I would have thought Ollie Henry will probably pop up for one or two. So, yeah, there's going to be a couple of options here, I think. So, at least there's something open. So, we'll have enough to have a look at it for sure tomorrow, and we'll be looking to get started. Albeit it's not really the way I like to go about it with goal kickers, but like I said, we'll see what we can come up with. Carlton handicap 20 plus. Yeah, look, I don't mind it. Yeah, it's really going to be a tricky one, man, because we just really don't know. And like, say if one team does have a good lead, they probably put the cue in the rack, and then you start resting all your players come the last quarter, and the game can tighten up a little bit. But I think you'll see far more effort from Carlton. I think with a lot of these younger guys maybe trying to prove themselves, like we saw last week as well against Brisbane. I think Geelong will be pretty content just having another hit out, ticking the legs over. So yeah, it could be quite competitive. The worry is that I think Geelong's still going to be a far superior team than Carlton this year. Um, so there's that risk too. Chet got a 20% hit rate when OKC lose at home for 6 rebounds. Yeah. Um, it's good people chucking stats up like that. But I mean, as you can see on the screen, bro, it's at Toronto, so the game's at Toronto. So I'm not sure why. I'm not sure how relevant it would be. Like Chet's hit rate when you're saying OKC lose at home, like they're not playing at home, and then that's presuming they're also having a loss. So I'm just not sure. But I like it. I love people doing the work and throwing the stats out because then it allows me to maybe give you my point of view, and this is how we can create good discussion. So but yeah, maybe just keep that in mind because I can already see if you're basing your decisions off stats that are at OKC losing when they play at home, like you got to look up on the screen too. It says at Toronto, so you got to remember that it's at Toronto. So that could be very irrelevant all of a sudden. So, um, check questionable with a back injury. Yeah, that's. I mean, this is part of the NBA too, right? I mean, you can't really overthink too much with those injuries too. Sometimes you got to just avoid those players. I think he's been having some back spasms. It's like if you go look now, there's probably 50 plus players tomorrow that are all listed as questionable with potential injuries. Um, and you just don't know, are they serious injuries or some of these players have it every single game. Questionable with an ankle. It's like he's been questionable for the last 3 months and he's been dominating. So that's the world that you live in with NBA. So um, yeah, happy that there is some footy back finally. Toronto also held Miles Turner to 4 rebounds. My mistake at away. Away game's not home. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I like it, man. I don't buy into too many stats like that. Um, because you'd have to look too, it's like um when Toronto held Miles Turner to 4 rebounds, was that when Jakob Poeltl was playing? Because Jakob Poeltl's out. So he played last game against the Bucks, but he's not playing tomorrow, I think. So that's a huge difference. You take the starting center out, all of a sudden then it looks like a mismatch. Do you know what I mean? So stats like that, you got to be very careful. If you're just going to base everything off stats like that, you got to really look at the actual player matchups and the specifics of it as well because I think that's where a lot of people do go wrong. They think they can just base like everything off stats or like, oh, this happened the last 5 times these teams play. But it's like, yeah, but there was a different coach, different players, or this guy was injured or he was coming back from injury. There's so many variables with the NBA. So, um, yeah, it's a good place to start, but I'd have a look at the specifics of whether the center was playing or not. Because, like I said, it could be a very big difference from having a good matchup, and then you lose your center, and then obviously it looks a bit more like a one-sided without their center. So, just something to look into as well, man. Who? Or is that like a woohoo or a wow? You're gonna have to give us more than that, bro. Yeah, it's not one I really love tomorrow, so I love that the footy's back. If we can find enough for the footy tomorrow, and then I'll probably have another go, proper crack at the NBA again, maybe the following day. If hopefully, I like it now. It seems to be sort of the um, Rockets and Spurs seem to be playing on the same day a lot. We're two of my sort of favorite teams at the moment. If you were to go through and look at the Rockets numbers again, nearly every starter has like 4+ rebounds, all the way up to sort of 7, 8, 9, 10 nearly every week. Like I said, but from that one where Şengün just decided to have two. But like I said, one of the more sort of consistent teams with guys scoring and rebounding really well. Oh, like a woohoo! Yeah, gotcha, gotcha. I like it. I like the energy. Actually, don't mind that footy one already. Scotty Barnes without Pirtle has a 75% hit rate at home when they lose. Yeah, see, even that, bro, too. It's like every stat you've mentioned is them losing. Like, is that a guarantee that they're going to lose? I mean, yeah, they probably should, but if you're going to base your predictions on a team losing before the game's actually started, you got to think, well, what if they don't lose? How much is that going to change it, you know? So, um, I like it. I would be just taking it more on a matchup thing. So like I said, there's so many variables too. Like who knows? The last couple of sides, maybe they were coming off back to backs as well. Is this team going to be off a back to back? So it can be very very different. Um, who's my favorite team in college? Well, I don't really follow it too closely to be honest, but um, I would say Texas Longhorns because I mean I've got a tattoo in my leg, on my leg, when I spent some time in Texas and at a college bar and ended up getting a tattoo there. So I would have to say Texas. I'll always be Texas now. Texas Longhorns. Um, so that'll be my team. But yeah, I don't really follow it too closely just because the markets aren't really there for what we do. So there's just not much value or time or energy that I'm willing to spend on it. So we're sort of lucky that the two sports that I love that we dominate AFL and NFL, and they really just overlap. So it's like perfect for us. Don't know. I don't know where you're heading with these questions, bro. So no. I'm actually pumped those markets are open now. It's giving me a little bit of faith that they might even potentially maybe mix some disposal winners in there as well. Hopefully. Handicap markets. Yeah, I'll have to have a good look. What's up, guys? There's still people coming through. What's up? What's up? What's up? Keep throwing away, guys. So I'm just reading the comments, which people obviously just don't get it at all. You can tell by their photos a lot of time, but. Keep throwing away, guys. So I'm just trying to. Have you placed any? Not yet. I will be. Been waiting for the AFL ladder predicted to open up too. Instead of having to go through it all manually, it's so much easier just to quickly sort of go through and sort of make your picks, and then it sort of obviously configures the ladder for you, and then I can really start breaking it down of where their lines are set at for the season as well in terms of over unders and where that has them finishing in terms of the ladder as well. But hopefully maybe that's all that stuff starts to open up now as well. So it's going to be a very busy week from now. We're going to be all out right now as of tomorrow into the footy, whether that's a bit of the NRL mixing in as well. Like I said, then we can be even a bit more specific with our NBA. That means we really just target the NBA on days where our preferred teams are playing, knowing that we've got footy and stuff is back in full swing almost now, at least with some limited markets. So, um, yeah, we're going to have a bunch of stuff as well as sort of finalising all our super coach teams, getting everyone in for our tipping competitions. Obviously, if you want to give yourself the best chance to win, there's probably not much point coming in 3 or 4 rounds late because you're just going to be playing catch up and you're probably not going to win. So, yeah, we've got a lot of stuff we're going to be locking in over sort of the next, what was it, like a week and a half, 2 weeks or whatever, till the official round 0 or whatever it is. So, yeah, that'll all be mixed in and part of it. So. What's up, guys? What's up? Sorry, guys, I'm just going to be multitasking, but keep firing away with questions if you got any. Start looking into a little bit more of this footy now that some of the stuff is actually opening up. If you haven't been on here before, guys, these lives really are built around you. I try and give you guys the floor. Like I said, hence why we put all this stuff up behind us to start discussing some of this stuff. So these lives really are built around you guys and the questions that I get. So if you guys don't ask very many questions, you're going to get bored pretty quick. I think it's going to take a bit too with this new setup. Algorithms are sort of pretty funny, especially with TikTok itself. If you start streaming off like a completely different device and stuff, it does take a bit to catch up. So. You doing anything and like it? I would love to. I did have a look at it. That one there's just no real value unless you're taking guys at really high prop lines, which I just don't really love. Um, yeah, like I said, we found a real sort of sweet spot at the moment where you can really be taking guys for even 5 plus or 10 plus points and maybe like 2 assists or maybe 4 maximum or 4 rebounds, like living in that region where you can come out and I think we sort of threw up some of these options we had for the final game as well today, and I think we ticked off 7 in the first half. At over $3 it would have been. So um, that's what we're always sort of looking to do with the NBA, because if you can be ticking a lot off in the first half, then that way, even if they're a bit slow or whatever, you can still tick it off. But yeah, if you're taking 15 plus and 20 plus, or you need like 8 rebounds and 10 rebounds, a lot of the time you're waiting right till the end of the game and it can be a real sweat. So, I mean, unless you're taking Luka for like 25 and like 6 and 6, or LeBron, he's not even really worth taking at 15. Austin Reeves isn't really worth taking at 15. Like 4 boards, like there's no value there for any of those guys. And then like Desmond Bain's a bit the same now, unless you want to take him for closer to 20, which you can't really trust him. So yeah, I had a bit of a look at it. I'm just not sure the risk versus rewards there in that game, to be honest. But like I said, it really depends on how you like to go about it. Everyone's got their own different way of doing it too. But should I pick any two? Well, that's what we're discussing, bro. So you'll have to. That's the idea, that you ask questions about the game tomorrow, and we can discuss it. And then hopefully, when you leave here, you feel like you're giving yourself a better chance to go out and win tomorrow, as you can already see by some of these nuffies they've just dropped past and put comments of like, oh, why would you take all 14 of those legs? Whoever takes 14 legs, it's like, no one ever said that. These people just go out and like pop through for 2 seconds and they see a screenshot and they're like, oh, this has to be a multi, so let me leave my opinion on here, even though it sounds ridiculous. So that's why we like to do these lives and reiterate to people, the game's not for another 15 hours and you still don't really know who's playing. So it's crazy that people think that there's actually people out here putting multis on this early. So yeah, that's why we like to sort of get here. And like I said, rather than you just coming through and looking at a blank screen, I like to try and sort of go through and pick out a couple of things, whether it's over-unders or maybe a team that we think can win, or like I said, whether it's more just discussing these specific prop lines of 2 plus assists or the 10 plus. These are all sort of low, safe prop lines. So the idea is that we're trying to help people get better in this space and actually get results. And that's all these are. It's about discussing them, or like I said, whether we mix in some of these with the football tomorrow. This is what we have a Discord for. We go away and put plans in place and try and execute on them tomorrow. So yeah, that's all these are, bro. So yeah, it would depend on what, if you want to maybe discuss 2 from each game of maybe what we think are the best 2 to take. If you only want to take 2, that's the idea, that we can discuss all this on here and try and share value. So like Bay points versus Warriors. Yeah, do you mean in terms of the over under, bro? Like what specifically do you mean? Because I try and just get people to clarify too, because it's just more value for everyone else in the comments too, and then we can actually discuss it. And then, like I said, it's just another a way for people to learn, or maybe the people that don't have the time to sort of follow it because they're at work all day and they're not maybe up with the injuries or form lines or whatever. That's the idea, that we can come on here and discuss that and people take value from what we're talking about. So yeah, so maybe just clarify that one for us, bro. But I'm guessing you're probably saying you like him to have a big game and maybe go over on the points, I'm presuming. Frankie, what's up? Keep firing away with questions, guys. I'm just multitasking. If there's no questions coming through, I said it probably is going to take a little bit. Probably not going to get the same reach for a little bit with this whole new setup. Going through different systems and stuff now. It's probably going to take a little bit, but that's why we're trying to get this all going before the footy season starts. So. I'm with you, Scotty Barnes. 10 or more. Yeah, and then depends what, like, if you go on other apps too, where you can find him for, like, say, 12 plus and get a little bit better value there. So there's probably multiple guys, maybe say even Chet, you could take maybe 12 and say Scotty Barnes at 12 plus, and then maybe whether it's, say, Kevin Porter, maybe 12, maybe Rollins 12, you know what I mean? Probably Bam, Tyler, Hero, like they're probably all, especially Norman Powell. You can get that little bit of extra value by maybe just going on a different app and bumping them from 10 up to 12, and then all of a sudden you can get some pretty solid value on some really safe sort of prop lines. But he's probably one of those guys who's just, yeah, super consistent. I might have to just check too. I think this has put me in like some category as well. When you do it through this, you got to select what category you want to be in. So I think we've like end up in gaming or something weird, which is might be why it's affecting the algorithm too. But keep firing away with questions, guys. Otherwise, I probably won't stay on too late tonight. What's up, guys? What's up? I'll have to maybe look into that a little bit tomorrow, some of these categories and stuff, and just sort it out so we end up in the sweet spot. So I think I've somehow ended up in like the NBA 2K gaming category on TikTok, which is probably why it probably limits it specifically to that. Alright, guys, I'm probably going to jump off if there's no more questions or anything. definitely not going to sit here and waste my time or your time just sitting here staring at a screen. So if you do have any other questions, guys, or any thoughts or anything you want to get in, like I said, we will be doing a lot more of these. Just trying to get this software and stuff figured out so we can sort of do it the best way when we're ready to go for the footy season. So. All right, guys, appreciate everyone who did jump on. If you're not in our group already, like I said, we're going to be probably having a good crack at the footy tomorrow, albeit it probably not as big as we probably will be once the full market's open, but we're definitely going to start having a look at it as of tomorrow. I think we'll be able to still find some value in that game, as well as mixing some of this stuff in with the NBA, as you guys can see above us here as well. Not sure exactly when we're going to start the gaming tournaments as well. Probably once the footy season's sort of fully underway. Whether that's coming into like over the next month or so, maybe, and then we'll probably be looking at really going pretty sort of heavy on the NBA playoffs too. I think you're going to see a lot more consistency come playoff time in the NBA, as we always do. So we'll be trying to mix in some of that gaming stuff with there as well, or whether you're in the trading space and all that stuff as well. That's all inclusive now. So we're going to be covering a bunch of stuff this year. So yeah, like hopefully we can get this software started out where we sort of go through the algorithm. Because as you guys have probably remembered, we did one on the Super Bowl. I think we had it was over 8,000 people come through, and then the chat was just non-stop for hours on end. So you can sort of see the difference from using the new software and where it's sort of sending us, or with the algorithm or whatever. So I'll look to get all that sorted out as well. And then we'll be back doing these lives pretty consistently. So thanks for jumping on anyway, guys. We'll be back potentially tomorrow. It just depends on how the footy goes, or maybe even an hour before the footy or so. Maybe we'll jump on and talk a little bit of footy. Maybe that hour leading into the game when it's fresh in everyone's mind as well. So for tomorrow, explaining what we're looking at doing for the footy tomorrow.